All right, we are here with our parent training night, and we have Michelle Colombo here. So I have her here just to talk about what she does and how it can help some of our kids. So, Michelle, go ahead and start.
Thank you, Nicole, and thank you so much for having me. Hello, parents. I'm so glad to be here. I know how much you care about your children, feeling calm, happy, and supported, especially in today's world where so many kids are feeling overwhelmed and anxious. I'd like to talk a little bit about what I offer and the gentle approach I use with sound healing and crystal energy to help children relax their nervous system and feel more balanced emotionally. Think of it as giving the body a chance to slow down, reset, and feel safe again. I think the most important thing is making children feel safe in an environment. Um, when children come to me, I've been doing this for about 25 years. The youngest child that I've worked on is my grandson, who's 3. Of course, their attention span isn't that long, but he still very much enjoys getting crystal energy healing and sound therapy. I use instruments like singing bowls, tuning forks, koshi chimes, and it creates a soft, calming vibration for children and they can relate to it. It helps shift their brain into a more relaxed state, similar to what happens when we are in a meditative state or a deep relaxation. That's basically what kids get out of it. And it's less anxiety for them, better sleep, and an easier time calming their bodies. I think that's the most important thing is having children being able to calm their bodies. Every individual I try to personalize because every child is unique in their own sense. And I customize it to whatever the child I feel that he or she may need. And if it's a matter of, we're not getting the child to maybe calm down and get into that deep relaxation, we can also work on breath work. And I can teach you how to do that with your child. Um, and it's very safe. It's very calming for the child. Um, it provides a sense of comfort and grounding, especially working with crystals. It can support emotional balance, encourages mindfulness and self-soothing.
Mhm.
Like I said, the sessions are gentle, quiet, and adapted for each individual child. We can stop at any time. I do encourage parents to sit in the room just to make the child feel more safe. Because of course your children do not know me, and the most important thing is having them that sense of safety. As far as the crystals go, children, I've over so many years working with children, I feel like they gravitate towards the crystals because energetically they feel so good. They're so pretty to look at. And it just helps calm them and soothe them down and gets them into that tranquil peace of mind and stops their mind from thinking about everything in the outside world. Um, what else can I say
Because they're
here?
really pretty. They're really pretty. They're really pretty to look at. So kids, I know little girls love looking at different crystals. So whatever, there's still something to take your mind off what's going on, and they're attracted to them
Exactly.
for
And
some
boys too,
reason.
because they remind them of marbles. Remember playing with marbles as kids? Boys love playing with marbles. So boys are even drawn to it. I think boys too are more into the sound therapy because I also have drums and the chimes and they love playing with them and I'm always okay showing children how to play with them and we make it fun. We want it to be a fun environment and very relaxing and soothing for the child. And when a parent is there with them, not only does it make them feel comforted and safe, the parent is actually getting all the sound therapy that in the
That
room
we
that's
need as parents. Yes.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. And so, yeah, I love how you pointed out, and it's so true. Like, I said this before, I talked to an occupational therapist who told me like 20 years ago, her caseload was like 10% anxiety, and now it's 90% anxiety for kids. That anxiety is kind of ramping up. And for me, it's kind of like what we're doing isn't working. There hasn't been for the strategies we know, I haven't seen a lot of huge changes. So meeting you and learning something different through sound and crystals, like I was surprised to see, my own daughter being able to sit for 30 minutes and just enjoy feeling calm. And so my hope is that some parents I think are just kind of tired. Like, how do I help my kid get calm? How did I help my kid get less anxious? And this is another thing to try. Like, it's another tool in the toolbox. It doesn't work for everybody, but
Absolutely.
it's I think it's worth a try to see your child be calm and being able to regulate their body for 30 minutes and sleep good. I mean, what parent doesn't want that, you know?
And Nicole, your Ellie, your daughter is a perfect example. I mean, the first time she came to me, she lay there for half an hour, and then, a week later, she wanted it again, because she must have really thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was so refreshing to see that, because she's 6 years old.
Yeah, she was 5 then. Yeah, she actually asks for to see Michelle because she wants her body to be calm. Um, can you tell me a little bit more about why does sound, let's start with sound, why does it calm the body? Why does it calm the nervous system? What is in it that affects our
Yes, and
body?
I'm sorry I have some notes because I don't want to miss anything. Um, Basically what happens, the best way to explain it is sound therapy influences brain waves. The tunes used in sound healing can help move your brain from an active beta wave, which is your thinking stress, into a slower alpha and theta state. These are the same states associated with meditation, creativity, and deep emotional processing. In those states, the body can release tension and the mind can process things more gently. Another huge thing is on the nervous system. Many people live in a constant fight or flight system state. In other words, sound healing helps guide into the parasympathetic state where healing, digestion, and rest happen. This is why people often feel deeply relaxed. They fall asleep during a session because it's just like, and it's the frequency in the body. Think if you think about our bodies, our human bodies, all of our organs, cells, tissues, has a natural frequency. When you're stressed, overwhelmed, or unwell, those rhythms can become dysregulated. Sound healing uses instruments like crystal bows, gongs, tuning forks. And what that does is it introduces steady, harmonious vibrations that your body can sync with again. This process is described through the idea of entertainment, where your brain waves and bodily systems begin to match the calming frequencies you're hearing. Stress, emotional overload, like you had just mentioned, low energy can leave you feeling stuck and off balance. This is where sound therapy and crystal energy can really help with that. Not only for children, but of course, we're focused more on children on tonight's episode, but also as adults. Children and adults, we all have the same organs in our body, the same cells, and so forth. Also, I did want to include, Nicole, as normally the children are laying on a massage table completely fully dressed. We can cover them. I lay crystals on them. And they're laying on top of a crystal biomat, which is a pulse electromagnetic frequency. Basically, the whole time your child's laying there, the entire back side, all of their cells are getting this healing from the whole bottom of their body. Because what happens is this PMF, crystal biomat, recharges the cells in the body and it kind of resets the frequency in the brain as well, which is why it's so good with people with Alzheimer's, cancer, people that have been through surgeries before. It's a faster recovery period for people that have had surgeries recently, or people that are going through chemotherapy or radiation, or even children who have suffered from any kind of disease or any kind of traumatic, experiences in their life.
Yeah. So, and I think that was a very good explanation to understand more of the scientific reasons behind it. I think you mentioned something too, which I feel like parents need to hear is sometimes we have to heal ourselves as parents before we can help our children. So also you do adults too, which could is
Right?
helpful. I noticed that when I'm more regulated, I my kids are more regulated.
For sure.
So, a little bit of self-care there for parents to encourage you to do that. But yeah, I know just to see your children not in fight or flight for a little bit and they can calm. It's pretty amazing. So,
Anything we
um,
can do. And like you said, I mean, it doesn't work for every child. Some children may not, experience good things from it. But most of the children I've worked on, I've had really good responses from. And again, it's one of those things we adjust it to what the kid, the child needs at that time. If they can only handle 15, 20 minutes or 30 minutes, that's fine. There's
mhm,
time frame for children on how well this works. Obviously as adults we can handle much longer periods, but even children, 30 minutes or less is completely fine for them. They get
mhm.
all those healing benefits from it. And I love the fact, Nicole, that you pointed out us as adults, as parents, when we're not at our best self, it does affect our children. So it is very important that we're continuously working on ourselves as well, like you said.
Yeah, because they feel that. They feel that. So, um, and Michelle, a little bit of your background too, like your experience in trauma and how that helps you now with children. Is there a link there?
Absolutely. I've mentioned to you before that when I was in Miami for about 21, 22 years, and I worked at a trauma resolution center. We were a nonprofit, and we basically focused on trauma victims. And I don't like to label that, but we had I was a holistic director there and office manager. And we dealt with a lot of children. Unfortunately, they would come into us as young as 6, 7 years old, where they were human trafficked from other countries like Guatemala, Mexico. Very, very sad situations, because children that age, that are being human trafficked and getting raped and so forth, horrible to even think about, but unfortunately it happens. And I saw it with my own eyes, and we had so many children. And then, there would be kids as young as 6, 7 years old, but then the FBI wouldn't actually be able to get to them until they were adults, closer to adult age, 17, 18, 19 years old. By the time they would come to our center and we were there to help them, obviously, they just thought that was a normal way of life.
Hmm.
Children learn by their environment, and it's what we create as parents, the kind of environment we want our kids to grow up in. So at the Trauma Resolution Center, we had a whole holistic center. We had an acupuncture doctor, we had yoga, we offered sound healing, energy healing, crystals. That's where I did a lot and did a lot with the children, on top of, we had plenty counseling sessions for them. We worked with a lot of PTSD veterans as well, worked with a lot of vets my whole life. But if seeing these kids as young as 6 years old up to 18, 19 years old that had now become adults, they would stay in our program for up to a year. And it was incredible the amount of changes they had. Just that feeling of self-worth, being
Mm.
safe, learning that the right way of living and that the way they were living was not good. It was
And to
not
be able
good.
to be able to make that change at that age, a lot of people said those people wouldn't be able to change, right?
Now they
So
can. Yeah, we saw it over and over again with the proper help. And I think that's what it was more about, with the proper help for these kids and young adults. It was just amazing. And we followed them for many years, because it was a government, program. We got funded through the government. So they wanted to make sure we were doing everything to help them. And most of them went on, got great jobs, were
awesome.
happy. Yes.
And that's where I feel like, bringing this ideas and to the parents of like, let's try something different. Like there's medicines, there's other things you can try. There, there's talk therapy, which is great, but sometimes who would think that sound healing would help an anxious child? Like I never had known about it, but it did. So just thinking outside of the box, some more holistic things. And I think some parents are ready for that change just to try it out because they can't, like your center was able to help a lot of people. So um, just things to, spark interest, being open to different modalities to help our children and ourselves. So I
Absolutely.
think,
And Nicole, thinking outside the box, and this is a little off, but one thing I remember that was so enjoyable that we used to offer our clients, and they absolutely loved it, was we would do blind painting classes. And we would have paintbrushes there and all these different paint colors. So we would blindfold them and we just tell them, okay, start painting on your little canvas. And we had a little canvas in front of them. And then at the very end, we would take the blindfold off. And it was incredible to see what kind of drawings people did blindfolded.
interesting. I'm gonna have to try that.
It,
See?
it was, yeah, it was just thinking outside the box, like who would have ever thought? But it was just, it might have been things from their childhood that they remembered. Some people would draw their mom or dad or their family or their dog or their cat. Others would draw love hearts. Others would draw trees, outside nature. And it was something that made them happy because we would tell them,
Right.
draw something that makes you happy. And so I just had to mention that because I thought it was so much
Yeah.
fun.
But it's true. Thinking outside of the box, new ideas and new energy. So that's really exciting. So um and how can parents find you?
I do have a website. It's ascensionmbs.com, which is mind, body, spirit, but also in your center, by the waiting area room, I do have brochures there. They're more than welcome to take a brochure. They can book online if they want. My phone number is always available. They can text me or call me with any questions. I'm always very open to answer any questions, or I have no problem texting people or having them call me with questions. If there's something on the website they may not understand, please reach out to me anytime. I mean, I'm typically work by appointment only. I do ask for 24-hour advance notice. Um, and there's half-hour sessions, 1-hour sessions, or 90-minute sessions. And yeah, so they can just book any or any questions.
Awesome. For kids, we start off with the 30 minutes, correct?
For sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I do 30. Because you never know how your child's going to respond to it. And of course, depending on the child's age too, a 15-year-old may be able to lay there for an hour without a problem. I love children just like we all do. And I love working on them. I love when the parents are involved there watching me because if anything, they can learn too. And they can actually physically see how their child responds to it, which is what I really enjoy.
Yes. That's definitely uh, always good to see your child being able, like I said, to relax and enjoy something that's peaceful. Sound, like what that's great. So, well, I think that is all, unless you had anything else to add to that. You would add anything?
Um, I don't think so, unless you had any other questions.
That is all. Well, thank you for your time.
Oh, thank you so much, Nicole. And parents, any questions, please reach out to me. I would love to answer anything that you might, have for me. And it's just a phone call away.
Sounds good. All right. Have a great night.
Thank you so much. You